The Call to Action is an initiative of 4 Commonwealth organisations: the Association of Commonwealth Universities, the Commonwealth Association of Architects, the Commonwealth Association of Planners, and the Commonwealth Local Government Forum, working in partnership with the Prince's Foundation and the Government of Rwanda. The Call to Action aims to highlight the importance of sustainable urbanisation in managing the impacts of climate change, rapid urbanisation, and more recently COVID-19 across the Commonwealth, and to recognise the critical importance of multidisciplinary and multi-level action to deliver genuinely sustainable development. The partners are using the Call to Action to galvanise their members and the extensive Commonwealth network into collaborative action on sustainable urbanisation, and hope that the next Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting, hosted by Rwanda, will endorse a greater focus on ensuring sustainable cities, not least since almost 50% of the new global urban population between now and 2050 will be living in cities and towns within the Commonwealth. On the eve of COP26, key representatives of the 4 Commonwealth partners came together with high-level stakeholders to reinforce these messages and to call for action on sustainable urbanisation across the Commonwealth as a critical means of meeting climate targets. In a hybrid event hosted by His Royal Highness the Prince of Wales at Clarence House, participants in the room were joined in discussion virtually by a range of voices from across the Commonwealth. This video captures key elements from that conversation and the priorities identified for COP26 and beyond, to ensure that cities are a central part of the solution to the challenges we face and that no one is left behind.
The Commonwealth Call to Action seems to me to provide a really perfect rallying point for Commonwealth member states, central and local governments, civil society, and organisations at all levels to come together seriously to support and deliver real and transformational change through the way that we plan and manage our cities and human settlements. I mean, sustainable urban development is clearly critical in responding to the climate emergency.
We know that bad urbanisation will be a problem, to put it mildly. And most of the world's population living in cities that are on the front line of climate change will pay a disproportionate price for that. But I think there's also an opportunity that good urbanisation is part of the solution. And as the world's population grows, if we rethink, reconceptualise, replan and design good cities that are low impact, decarbonise, support nature, then actually cities could be part of the solution of the world being home to a growing global population.
With 70% of global carbon emissions coming from cities, ending climate change begins in cities. So, as you've already identified, this is a vitally important topic for Commonwealth countries, and the scale of the challenge needs to be met by the scale and the speed of the response.
1 billion people are going to join our Commonwealth in the next 30 years, and 95% of the growth in urban areas are going to take place in Asia and Africa. So it couldn't be more important for our Commonwealth family that we target this issue. And the beauty of the Commonwealth is we're 2.5 billion people, 60% of whom are under the age of 30, and we are already committed through our charter to these values. And we know that if we can form the pathway and show what action together actually can deliver, it'll make a huge difference.
The colleagues, as you know, 65% of the 169 target of the Sustainable Development Goals are attributed to urban and territorial development. So as the United Nations Secretary General said, urbanization is an unstoppable mega trend. So I am very, very impressed with the leadership of the Commonwealth of Nations for the leadership in making urbanization a force for good. The UN Habitat is with the Commonwealth of Nations, and we applaud the advocacy, action-oriented approaches, and the spirit of togetherness. And this is the bedrock of multilateral effort to create a better tomorrow.
Rwanda's strategic direction underscores sustainable urbanization to the benefit of the Commonwealth countries, which call for concerted effort and ambitious action.
First of all, we want to express total solidarity with the Commonwealth call for action for sustainable urbanization, sustainable cities and sustainable habitats. So therefore, it's extremely important for urbanization, good urbanization, good urban planning. And I just want to mention that, mayors are so important, so critical. So under these circumstances, we must have collaboration and learning and knowledge sharing between mayors, capacity building of mayors and urban planners and architects, of course, communities, because communities, there's so many community organizations, and then public-private partnership. We must have the private sector team up with the mayors, municipalities.
As an economist, I can assure you that this call to action focuses on one of the most important economic forces of our time, because across history and across the globe, we know that people have been flocking to cities in search of opportunities for jobs, for services, but perhaps most importantly, to improve the lives of future generations. Following people, firms are also locating in cities in search for labor, in search for markets, in search for infrastructure, and ideas for innovation. And these economic forces that bring people and firms together in dense environments, if managed well through suitable economic and spatial policies, can be a major driver for economic growth. And I think we importantly have to remember it's not only for the cities themselves, but for the countries, the regions, and the globe that we are all located in.
There is an urgent need for us to reimagine our cities, with the urban poor at the heart of such a vision. We must focus on affordable housing and the provision of basic services like water, sanitation, and hygiene that we all tend to take for granted. The time for water-sensitive urban design and planning is now. We need to improve our institutions for governance and planning and ensure that the voices of all citizens are heard. We need clear intent and vision. We need investment. We need enterprise. And more importantly, we need empathy.
Governments in the Commonwealth Caribbean should seek to establish partnerships and fund research in these areas to accelerate achievement of objectives towards the primary goal of sustainable urbanization. This is where academics and universities can make solid contribution to evidence-based policymaking, given their access to multidisciplinary research skills.
The youth force is the source of passion, creativity, and admirable commitment to the cause. We need to bring the youth of Commonwealth nations together and nurture the young leaders with the right opportunities to envision a sustainable future for our world.
I think what we've learned is that if we do what we've always done, we're going to get what we always got. And we know that that isn't going to deliver the future we need. So what are we going to do differently? And I think we've heard this morning from almost all of the speakers that we need transformational change. We need to break down barriers. We need to work in a more integrated manner across sectors and across disciplines. We need more effective working between central government, between local government, between built environment professionals, between universities and the private sector. And we need to share our knowledge and our resources more effectively.
When we think about how that fits with what we're here for today in response to a call for action, not a call for declarations and statements and the publication of more plans, although we obviously need to plan, but it is a call for action.
The urgency of these issues demands real and decisive action. And this is why I've been so encouraged to see this collaborative, interdisciplinary Commonwealth partnership forged and now growing over the last 2 years, despite the added challenge of COVID-19, and indeed made all the more important and imperative and relevant by all these challenges.